There's a strange moment that almost everyone experiences at least once. You stay honest and get ignored. You stay loyal and get betrayed. You help people and somehow become the one who suffers the most. And slowly, a dangerous question begins to grow inside you. Is being a good person actually a weakness? Fyodor Dostoevsky spent his entire life wrestling with this question. Not in theory, in pain. He saw human beings at their worst. Poverty, humiliation, greed, violence, betrayal. He was sentenced to death, stood in front of a firing squad, and only seconds before execution, was pardoned. Imagine what that does to a human mind. After staring directly into suffering, Dostoevsky came to a terrifying realization. The world does not always reward goodness. Sometimes it punishes it. And that is the paradox. Because the kinder you become, the more the world expects from you. The more forgiving you are, the more people test your limits. The more understanding you become, the more invisible your pain becomes. A good person often becomes society's emotional trash can. Everyone throws their frustrations, expectations, and selfishness onto them because they know one thing: they won't fight back. Dostoevsky warned that goodness without strength becomes self-destruction. Think about that carefully. We are taught since childhood to be nice. Be polite, be humble, don't hurt others. Forgive everyone. But nobody teaches us how to protect ourselves from manipulative people. Nobody teaches us that some people see kindness as an opportunity. Nobody teaches us that excessive goodness can slowly erase your identity. And this is where the real danger begins. Because eventually, good people stop being good out of love. They become good out of fear. Fear of disappointing others. Fear of conflict. Fear of being called selfish. Fear of losing people. So they smile when they want to scream. They say yes when they want to say no. They keep sacrificing pieces of themselves just to keep everyone comfortable. And one day they wake up feeling completely empty. Dostoevsky understood this deeply. In many of his stories, the purest characters suffer the most because they expect humanity to behave with conscience. But reality shocks them, again and again. He believed that human beings are complicated creatures. People don't only seek love, peace, or happiness. Sometimes people seek power, sometimes chaos, sometimes domination. And if you enter this world with blind innocence, the world will educate you brutally. That's why some of the kindest people suddenly become cold. Not because they were born heartless, but because their kindness was abused too many times. There's a quote often connected to Dostoevsky's philosophy. To live without hope is to cease to live. But here's the darker side nobody talks about. To live only for others is to slowly disappear. Read that again. Some people spend their whole lives trying to be good, according to society's standards, while secretly feeling miserable inside. Why? Because morality without self-respect becomes slavery. A truly good person is not someone who never gets angry. It's someone who knows when anger is necessary. A truly good person is not someone who tolerates everything. It's someone who knows what should never be tolerated. This is the paradox. The world praises kindness, but often exploits the kind. The world admires honesty, but rewards manipulation faster. The world says, be yourself, until your real self becomes inconvenient. And this creates an internal war inside millions of people. Part of them wants to remain soft, loving, and pure. Another part wants to become cold enough to survive. Dostoevsky believed the answer was not becoming evil, but becoming conscious. There's a massive difference. Weak goodness says, I must save everyone even if it destroys me. Conscious goodness says, I will help others, but I will not abandon myself. That is strength. Because real goodness requires boundaries. Without boundaries, kindness becomes permission for abuse. Look around carefully. Some of the most dangerous people don't look dangerous at all. They smile, they flatter you, they play the victim perfectly. And genuinely kind people often fall for them because they project their own innocence onto others. Dostoevsky warned against this blindness. He believed that every human being carries both light and darkness within them. Ignoring darkness does not make you pure. It makes you naive. This is why life changes you after betrayal. You stop trusting words so easily. You notice hidden intentions. You become more careful with your energy. And honestly, that's not always a bad thing. Pain matures people in ways comfort never can. The goal is not to lose your kindness. The goal is to make sure your kindness is no longer defenseless. Because the harsh truth is, if you are endlessly available, people will consume you endlessly. And the saddest part? Many good people don't even realize they're disappearing until it's too late. They become exhausted, emotionally numb, quietly resentful, not because they hated others, but because they abandoned themselves for too long. Dostoevsky's warning to the world was never, "Don't be good." It was this: do not confuse goodness with weakness. A wolf can be violent, but a sheep that cannot defend itself is not morally superior. It is simply vulnerable. Real goodness is powerful. It knows how to love without begging, how to forgive without forgetting, how to care without self-destruction. And maybe the hardest lesson of all, you do not owe unlimited access to your soul just because you have a good heart. Some people deserve your kindness. Some deserve distance. And learning the difference may be one of the most important skills in life. Because in the end, the people who survive this world are not the coldest. They are the ones who remain kind without allowing the world to turn that kindness against them.